Hello, friends. In today's video, we're going to continue discussing our main theme for the month, your author platform, and some things that you specifically should never do when trying to promote your book. There are a lot of great things to do out there, and it is easy to get sucked into the hype of what you're doing. And when you are involved in a huge project like a book and trying to get the word out there, it's easy to think that everyone cares as much as you do. I'm here to give you a little bit of harsh reality that they don't. No one cares as much as you do. That's just the truth. I care a lot, but that is because I'm in this particular role. When you are looking at your readers, they're coming at it from a what's in it for me type of position, right? They want to know, if you are continuing to tell me about what you're doing, what am I gaining? So here are some things that you should never do when promoting your book, or some things that you should be very cautious about doing, because you're going to give people a bad taste in their mouth, a connotation attached to your name or your book, and you're just going to annoy some people, quite frankly. Things like sending private messages on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram to people that you're not connected with, to people that you're not already considered like friends with, you have a previous relationship with, you're sort of just strangers. You're sliding up in their DM with a link about your book, or a note about your upcoming book launch or whatever it is. Don't do that. Even me, when I get messages from people that I'm not already connected with, it's sort of just like a random. I'm usually just like, thanks for the message, and then I block them. Because, right? Because I mean, they don't even want to talk to me. They don't even care who I am. You've probably gotten messages like that where you're like, why is this person connecting with me? They don't seem to care what I'm all about, to get to know me, whether or not I'm a good fit for them. They're just trying to advertise, and I don't like advertisements in my personal inbox. This works the same way with email. If for some reason you get your hands on a bunch of email addresses for people who haven't already opted in to receive emails from you, don't email them. That's spam. You're being spammy. You're a spammer. So don't do that, right? Or just think about how you want to connect with people out in the world. You don't want to come across as someone who doesn't care about the person on the other end of this message. You do. In fact, I know you do, because you spent all of this time writing a book to help people, to connect with people, to give them something. So I know you care about them. You just have to show them that you care about them. So here's a couple other things that you don't want to do. You don't want to make a post like on your personal page or your business page, on Facebook in particular, and tag people or mention them in comments. That's sort of like calling them out. If this isn't your best friend or your mom or your sister or someone, don't tag people. Don't go onto other people's posts and drop your link there, right? Obviously, outside of my group or maybe other writing groups that have a community of writers that are like, hey, tell us about your book. These are kind of the rules in general. I should have said that up front, but I hope that's kind of obvious anyway. So don't go drop your link wherever you can drop it, other people's posts, other people's comments, unless they're like, oh, hey, send me a link of your book, or where can I check your book out? Then you give them the link. You can start conversations with people and say, hey, I'm working on this book. It's about XYZ, or I love that you made this post about whatever it is. I'm also really familiar with this topic and, have spent the last 8 months writing my book. And then you leave it at that. And if someone comes back and says, hey, I'd love to get more information on your book, then provide it. But other than that, you shouldn't be just taking people's posts over or pages over. Don't drop it on someone else's personal wall, that type of thing. Here's another thing you shouldn't do. You shouldn't slide up in groups and only talk about your book or only talk about what you're doing. If you're in a group, even a group like mine, this is just good group etiquette. And I do this too. I don't go into other groups and just talk about what I can offer people and what I do. I try to just engage, comment, tell people what I think, go onto their posts and say like, great job, or hey, this is what I think you could do, right? Give some feedback or some support or whatever people are looking for. And then if the opportunity arises, I let them know I'm a book coach. I can help you with this or whatever. Come hang out in my group. Maybe some of you have even connected with me that way. It's a very authentic and honest place to come from because I truly think, oh, hey, this is something like a tool or a benefit that I can help them with. But I'm not just like bombarding people. I don't go up in these groups and go like, by the way, here's all my stuff. I don't really care about anything else that's going on in this group. Everyone else here is sort of like irrelevant to me because I'm just like blabbering about myself, right? That's the vibe you give off when all you're doing is just dropping links about your book, dropping promo posts about your book. And think about even outside of writers' communities, this is very important. You don't want to go up into other groups, even if they're within your book's topic. You don't want to go into those groups with this mindset of like promotion. You want to give first. The ultimate goal is to give and give and give. And then if the opportunity or when the opportunity arises, promote your book. You can do promotional posts if groups allow it, right? I have given my group permission to promote their books when they've gotten it published because we want to celebrate that. So it might be a little different in my group than other groups, but just understand the rules of the group and what you should or shouldn't be doing because you definitely can go out there and talk about your book. You just don't want to feel come across very one-sided about it. Like this girl only cares about her darn book, You care about other things, right? You care about people. So that's something you should just keep in mind with groups. Another thing that you should really think about is even on your personal page or your business page. Let's talk about personal page first. If you are using your personal page to promote your book, great, do that. There's nothing wrong with that. If you've made that decision mindfully and you know that people on your personal page are going to be supportive of you, totally do that. But what you should not do is just literally talk about your book nonstop, okay? Don't just drop a link every day. Don't just talk about, promote your book literally nonstop. You have to have other stuff in there in order for people to hear you, or they're going to start blocking you. And number two, Facebook prioritizes posts with links lower than other posts in your feed. So if you're always, inserting a link and trying to get people to go buy your book, those posts are going to be filtered down to the bottom of people's scroll feeds, and they're probably not going to even see them after a while, or they're going to block you. they're going to block your posts, maybe not unfriend you, but block you because they don't care necessarily about only that. Maybe they want to support your book venture, but that shouldn't be it. So you should sprinkle in some other things. We'll talk about that separately. I want to focus on what you should not do for this video. Now, moving to your business page. Your business page, what we call an author page on Facebook. It's not like you have to run a business to have that page. You can just use it for book promotional purposes. But keep a couple things in mind here. Number one, I think I mentioned this before, Facebook prioritizes business page posts lower than personal page posts in people's feeds. So there's less of a chance they're going to see anything you post on your business page. But if you've invited people to follow that author page, and all you're doing is saying, buy my book, and there's just link, and there's nothing else, they're going to get burned out real quick. So think about some other things that you can post on that page and your personal page. For example, what are some topics related to your book? Talk about the process of writing your book, what you hated, what you loved, what you found so insightful, what might other people, benefit from or whatever. Hey, if you're ever thinking about writing a book, try this. I found this really helpful. Talk about some of the support that you've gotten in that process. Did you find a specific group really helpful? Did you find a specific book really helpful? That type of thing. So you can talk about your book kind of in a backdoor way. You're not talking about the book and you're not just blasting them with a straight up advertisement. You're talking about the process and what it did for you and how you enjoyed it or what you found really challenging. People are always super interested in the process of writing a book because more often than not, and I've experienced this since coming out as a book coach, even as an editor, people are like, "Oh, I have a book that I've been wanting to write." I mean, like most of the people you meet will share that sentiment. Like, "Oh, I thought about writing a book once." And so when you start talking about it, people get an inside view, an inside peek of what really it looks like. And you are able to kind of share that joy, share that cheer, spread it around a little bit. This is what this really looks like for people. So you can talk about things like that or talk about stuff related to your book. If you are posting or writing a book on your travel memoir, this world travel adventure you went on, pictures, post pictures. Oh my gosh, talk about your travels, right? Talk about the places you went and the people you met and do it with pictures and with a caption. That's amazing. Do that. Or just dive into the place that you went. If you visited China and this was your trip and that was like this mind-blowing, life-changing trip, educate people on things going on in China, on how they live, on their economy, on things like that. I mean, you don't have to get super political or anything that's not comfortable for you or interesting to you, but bring us into that world a little bit, and we're going to be like, oh, you know what? That sounds amazing. We want to read your book about when you traveled there and what you saw because this place sounds magical, right? So just think about it in other ways. Try not to just bombard people with, here's my Amazon link, here's this, here's that, come join me for this launch call, right? You want to give more. I would also caution you, and I don't necessarily want to say the word never here, but this is not as good of an idea. And it's called hiring a publicist. A publicist is someone whose job it is to kind of get you out there and get you publicity, right? So I don't think it's a very good use of most first-time authors, money, their marketing budget, because of a couple things. Number one, if this is your first and only book, you don't necessarily need someone of that caliber to take this for you, to do those things for you. A publicist is someone who's going to benefit a career writer a bit more, meaning someone who wants to be a writer, a book writer for their career. This is what they want to do for a living. This is someone that could, a publicist could partner with that type of writer a lot more effectively and make that money worth it. It's typically not worth the money for just one book. Number two, if you are still fairly unknown, the publicity is going to be an uphill battle. If you have a pretty big audience and you're building your platform and stuff, typically a publicist isn't going to get you much further, right? Like they have connections and everything, but if this is not something you want to be your full-time gig or you don't want to spend a lot of time promoting your book during the week, a publicist is going to be like too much for you. It's going to give you too much and not meet your needs. So really, very strongly, I suggest for you to think critically about what it is, what benefit it could be to you to hire a publicist. A very good option instead of a publicist, a very good swap out for that is someone like a digital marketer, someone who knows how to just market digitally. A publicist is, yes, going to open doors for you and make some connections and get you featured in places and all of that, but someone who understands how to market digitally can actually help you produce similar results. And they're going to teach you things about how to market on Facebook and how to market on Instagram and all of that jazz and how to set up ads and that type of thing, right? And manage some of that for you. So if you're really looking to hire some support, that's going to be a better alternative. A digital marketer is going to be a better alternative than a publicist. Another thing that I really want you to not do is to promote yourself on only one place. I know I told you not to focus on more than 2 places right now to start with, but you still can think about where you can promote yourself. So, for example, let's say you've chosen your two platform focus points as Facebook and your author website. That's totally perfect. You don't need to be on Instagram and Twitter and Medium and all the other places, okay? You don't. That's perfect. But what about things that help bring people to those platforms? Like we talked about how to, get some website traffic, external activities, such as guest blog posting, or maybe there's a speaking event. Always be thinking and keeping your eyes out for opportunities that help you promote in those two ways, those two platforms that you've chosen, or those two specific places that you've chosen to build your foundation of your platform on. For example, Facebook is a wide world of opportunity. If you've chosen Facebook as one of your sources, don't just post on your personal page or your business page. There are other ways you can promote. So try to not be so one-visioned on this. You can start out small, but look for opportunities to grow. Are there groups that allow you to promote your book on Fridays or whatever it is, right? Try to come up with a plan to do a little research and see what opportunities are out there, instead of just being one-tracked, okay? And here's another thing on that. Don't just have a website. Don't just have a website. You need to have something else to accompany that, or it's going to be very difficult for you to get traffic to your website. You're not going to get enough organic search hits to make that worth it, okay? So don't think too narrowly is the thing that I don't want you to do. Don't think too narrowly. Think broader. Don't overwhelm yourself in that, right? It's kind of a happy medium. You don't want to be way out here and you don't want to be, in the middle of the lane. You want to be a little bit broader. So those are a couple things that I want you to think about, missteps that you can make on this promotional path. Another final note I will say on the don't list, don't be unprepared. Don't underestimate or undervalue the time spent on creating a good plan and a good, maybe even timeline. If you know you're going to publish on a certain date and you want to start talking about your book in advance and work up to maybe like a book launch or something, plan out your posts a couple months in advance or a couple weeks or whatever it is that you feel comfortable with. What are you going to do those days? What activities are you going to take on certain days so that you can start bringing traffic to your website and start getting visitors to your business page or whatever it is, whatever your end goal is. If your end goal is to increase your followers and increase your audience numbers, what are the particular steps that you need to take and the particular activities that you need to do in order to reach that goal? So start kind of at the back end. What is your goal, and work your way back, right? Start at the end, I should say. Start at your end goal and work your way to the beginning. What are the daily steps that you need to be taking? Is it reaching out to one person a day, or giving yourself an assignment on every Tuesday? You're going to go do some research to see where some promotional activities lie, or connect with 3 bloggers one week to see if you can do a guest post or whatever, right? Or start planning your own blog. Lay out the types of blogs that you want to produce and when. That type of thing. Don't underestimate planning. This is a lot of work that can go into promoting a book. So the more you plan, the better you're going to end up. Even if it feels like you're only planning on doing 1 or 2 things a week because you really don't have the time, that's okay. You're taking the stress out of it. You're taking the last minute, oh crap, what am I doing this week? Or, I'm not getting a lot of numbers. I wonder why. That type of realization, the closer you get to your book launch, is no fun. That you're only going to have 2 people there, or 5 sales the day you open up, or whatever. If your goal is to get more, then do yourself a favor and plan towards that goal. So, a couple things that I want you to keep in mind that you should never do, or some things that you should really think against doing versus some alternatives. That is what I wanted to make sure you heard today. And I want you to come back for my next video where we're going to continue talking about some of these promotional things and the things that you can do on your author platform to get your book out there in the world. So I'll see you in the next video.